Kenyan families that lost loved ones in the Ethiopian airlines crash have begun burying their dead. The remains were handed over to the families this morning after they were flown in from Ethiopia. The government says all the Kenyans who were on board the ill-fated plane have been accounted for. NTV's Brenda Wanga reports.
In specialized wooden caskets, the carts bring home the remains of 28 Kenyans who had begun their journey home on the 10th of March from Addis Ababa. Their flight terminating tragically in the plains of Bishoftu, and that crash taking with it the lives of all on board, close to 36 of them Kenyans. Today, their families and friends gathered at the State Pavilion at the JKIA to receive the bodies of their loved one. They had waited for 241 days for the aviation authorities to carry out DNA tests to identify the remains and reunite them with their families. The identification exercise had been expected to take 6 months, but a team from the international police comprising of 100 experts from 14 countries from Africa, the Americas and Europe took 5 months to get the job done.
We went to Ethiopia on Saturday just to go and have a look at the remains, and we had time. We checked around what is inside the coffins, the different remains. They have kept them well. The
families, now bonded over the tragedy, mingled as one by one each received the physical remains of those who perished in a foreign land. Some overwhelmed by the reality that they had tried to accept for the last 7 months, a reality they can no longer escape.
To some extent, actually, we had healed from this thing, but then now this brings back the memories. But we thank God because we are strong. We are able to go through over it because this is the last step.
The government maintains that all the Kenyans who perished in that accident have been accounted for.
Some of the Kenyans have dual nationalities and they have been rested elsewhere. We also have a few that were cremated, and so everybody is accounted for. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been following this very, very closely.
For us in the transport sector, one of the key things which we have talked about is the need to ensure we have maximum safety and security in the aviation sector.
Families also shared one interdenominational service before the government released the remains to them for interment, an exercise that Amos, who lost his sister and nephew, says is critical. The family had already symbolically buried the two, but now they have to go through the ceremony once more.
It comes across as a closure to this bad and traumatic past that we've had. I've also noticed the same with my parents, more so my mom, who was a bit disturbed. And having known our African context, we have to see the body for you to get full closure. To me and to my family, I'm sure that's a big closure.
The families will now proceed to bury their dead on their own schedule as they await the conclusion of the compensation arrangements, both from the Ethiopian Airlines and the aircraft's manufacturer, Boeing. 7 months after what is arguably one of the worst aviation tragedies in the region, the families of the deceased get to take the remains of their loved ones to their final resting places, and only then can they begin the process of healing. Brenda Wanga, NTV, Nairobi.